Welcome to the Wednesday Team Achieve call. Today we are going to be starting a kind of a two-part series. It's going to be this call paired with next week's call because this is all based on the Franklin Covey training that I took a few weekends back, and it was 2 9-hour days. So for me to cover all of this stuff in under 2 calls, I'm going to try to keep them under 45 minutes each. It's going to be kind of a basic overview so you get an idea of what this stuff is about, but I highly recommend if you find a training that is near you, get to it. It's $249, which when you first hear that, you may think, holy crap, that's a lot of money. But keep in mind, this is from a top company who works with huge organizations throughout America. And these trainings, I even looked them up afterwards because I didn't believe what they told us. They said it was $2,000 for the course. And a lot of the courses range from $1,100 to $2,000. So I highly recommend you take advantage of the Beachbody discount that we get, $249. I know there's one coming to Nashville, and I think that might have already passed.
People should check Google to see if the deal that I got is still on there.
Yep. Oh yeah. What was that, Groupon?
It was a Groupon, and it was $99 for. There's a lot of stuff. I finally registered and looked at it, and it's a whole online course and tons of things in there.
Yeah, keep an eye out. Just like Don said, just Google Franklin Covey discounts or something like that. See if you can find some type of. Even the online training will be extremely beneficial. I mean, I wish I had this kind of stuff given to me a year ago when I first started kicking my own butt in the business, because although I did have some success in 2013, it was organized chaos throughout the whole year. I was scrounging every single day throughout the entire month to get my to-do list done because a lot of people, I typically would wake up. I had some type of system put together for myself. I would wake up. You guys know, Don and I were just joking about this. You guys know that I was a Post-it note fiend. I had Post-it notes around my whole computer screen. I had Post-it notes all up over my boards at one point, and you guys can see those are all cleared out now because I've gotten a ton more organized since taking this course. But I used to just wake up, sit down at my computer, open my laptop, and think, okay, what do I need to do today? Make my little to-do list, and honestly, just pray it got done. Because at the end of the day, I may have only checked off 2 of 10 items, and I would just tell myself, oh, it's okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, and guess what? Just like, oh, I'm going to eat right tomorrow. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. So the Franklin Covey Institute training, what it did for me was it took what I had been doing and fine-tuned it. It pretty much engraved it in stone. So I wanted to jump on here on these 2 calls and just take a quick break from the storytelling that we've been doing from other coaches. And I just want to give you guys a basic overview of kind of what I learned, what I took out of it. Because a few of these key points I think can be really beneficial for a lot of you, especially if you are starting to see some increase in your business and you're getting to that next level. Maybe you're an emerald and you want to go diamond. This is the kind of stuff you have to start doing. You have to be strict on yourself as far as time management, because if you can learn that now while you still have a full-time job and working Beachbody on the side, when you get to be a full-time Beachbody coach and fire that boss and quit that job, and you get to stay at home and work from home, you are going to be incredibly happy that you learn this kind of stuff and how to manage your time. Because trust me, I made the mistake of quitting my job probably too soon because I thought I can go all in Beachbody. And guess what? I found a lot of the times I just sat on my butt and did nothing a lot of days. There was one point where before I fully quit the spa, I was working there 6 days a week. And I actually cut down to 2 days a week at one point. So I had 4 days off. And 5 days off. And out of those 5 days, I literally sat on my ass about 3 days. There was only 2 solid days where I actually did anything. And I'm talking, this was a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And it was right around that Bahamas trip that happened. So it kind of ties in with the Bahamas story. So when I got back from that Bahamas trip and I was all inspired, that's when I started seeking out, okay, where can I learn more about this whole business stuff? And I spent the last half of 2012 learning more about business and how to manage time. So when I rolled in 2013, I had my own little system going. It was just really wasn't a system. It was Post-it note craziness. And so when I learned this stuff, the first thought is I need to get this stuff to the team. But like I said, this is going to be a basic overview. I did pay my own money, and I probably spent, I don't know, $700 over the whole weekend between this training, the hotel, the drive up there was 4 hours. And I don't want to give you guys every little detail because I truly believe that you have to invest in yourself to grow yourself.
True.
There's a lot of free stuff out there, and it's great to utilize the free tools, but you need to get actual training every now and then. You need to invest in yourself, and I call it a short-term investment for long-term gain, because the $249 and the whole weekend of about $700 that I invested in myself, yeah, it was a crap ton of money, and I came back almost broke. But guess what? I know that because of the small investment I made in that weekend, this long-term is going to double, triple, even 10 times I'm going to get back out of that whole weekend because of the stuff that I learned. So we're going to dive right into it. There are basically this whole thing. Franklin Covey has several different trainings. Different ones about leadership. This one's about time management, and extraordinary productivity is what they call it. This one's based on the 5 choices. I'm going to try to cover the first 2 or 3 choices depending on how far we get into it today. So for the 2 that are live right now, Jen and Dawn, I'm actually going to have them do a little bit of activity along with this. So if you're watching the recording, I told these guys beforehand, get a notepad right now. Stop right now. Get a notepad. Hit pause if you need to. And when I tell these guys to do their little activities, I'm going to pause, let them do their work real quick, and I expect you to do the same thing. Because like I talked about in a previous call, don't just listen to these calls. Don't just kind of be here. Be engaged. Be fully here. Just like you should be when you're having conversations with people in person. You're never on, hopefully you're never on your phone texting while they're talking to you, and you're just like, okay, yeah. Be here on the call. Stay active with this stuff. So number 1, I'll cover the all 5 real quick. Number 1 is act on the important. Don't react to the urgent. This is a big one that I was not doing in the past. Even though I was kind of organized with my own little system, I was definitely not doing what this thing suggests, and I'll explain in a minute. Number 2, go for extraordinary. Don't settle for ordinary. Number 3, schedule the big rocks. Don't sort the gravel. There's a really cool video that I am going to try to dig around today and find for you guys. A lot of the Franklin Covey videos, we watched probably 20 or 30 little videos throughout this whole weekend that I took on this stuff. But because they are Franklin Covey copyrighted, they don't post them anywhere. So I'm going to try to do a little bit of digging and see if I can find some certain ones for you. Number 4, rule your technology. Don't let it rule you. This is going to be the hardest one for people to give up. Trust me. A lot of you may have noticed recently that I'm not responding back to texts as quickly as I was before. I may not be responding to Facebook messages as quickly as before. It's because I am ruling my technology now. I'm not letting the messages feel like an urgent distraction where I need to respond real quick. I have certain times, morning, midday, and evening, that I typically respond back to messages. So you guys will learn about that next week. Number 5 is fuel your fire. Don't burn out. So those are your 5 choices. Number 1, act on the important. Don't react to the urgent. This was a cool little diagram they showed us. 2 doors. Which one looks more appealing to walk through? Should be a no-brainer. Even though it's a no-brainer, it seems like common sense. Walk through the one that has blue skies and sunshine and freedom on the other end. Even though it may seem like common sense, a lot of us are living behind the other door. We may look calm and collected on the outside, but it's just chaos behind closed doors. And so this first one is all about how to kind of organize all of that chaos so you can actually think clearly and know exactly what you need to be doing. I saw a really cool quote actually this morning. I didn't catch this one before. All that glitters is not gold.
I like that one.
It's a good one. William Shakespeare. All that glitters is not gold. We are human. We like new, exciting stuff. That's why it's easy to be motivated when you buy a new workout program, but then you give up 4 weeks down the road. That's why it's easy to watch other coaches jump ship and join other companies because it's a new, bright, shiny company and it promises all these fancy gizmos and gadgets. It's all glitter, guys. And that's why I love this quote. You have to remember what is gold to you? What is actually weighing down on your heart that you need to be doing? And that is what you focus on. That's your core purpose. You don't let all the other shiny stuff and the glitter get to you. You don't have the squirrel moments. Next one is, okay, I don't need to go over that. And I don't really have a layout for describing this stuff to you guys. My brain is hard to describe sometimes. I lock stuff in here like none other. Trista, my wife, hates me for it because like right now she's taking a couple anatomy classes and I've been doing massage therapy for 6 years and I still remember everything like it was yesterday from 7 years ago when I went to school. So everything is kind of locked in here once I learn it. So I'm just going to try to go with the flow with this kind of stuff. Question for those of you that are live on the call right now. You guys know when you get inside of that zone, that complete focus mode, what part of your head or your brain do you physically feel that focus in?
What?
See if you can answer that. When you are completely just in your zone, like whether it be full coach mode or whatever it is there a physical area on your head that you feel that focus in?
I don't know about that.
So this may differ from person to person, but for example, when I get in these moods where I call it coach mode. I am completely in coach mode. I do these long motivating posts on Facebook. I do an inspiring video, or even when I take a pre-workout and you just get that laser focus on something. I feel it right here. I literally get a physical sensation in the front of my skull. Where
I might need to pay attention to my head.
Yeah, literally. Next time you're in that focus mode, pay attention right here between the eyes. And it sounds weird to say, but if you pay attention to it, you'll feel it. And that is because, there we go. That is called your frontal cortex. So there's two major parts of the brain that we're talking about with this kind of stuff. The frontal cortex and the primitive brain, or the emotional side of the brain. The cortex, right up front, is responsible for planning, attention, self-control, choices, and follow-through. These are the kind of things that they take actual effort to do. And when you actually start doing them, you literally can feel kind of a physical sensation going on in that I call it the focus area. Now, the reactive part of the brain sits at the base of the skull, kind of where that spinal cord starts to come out. This is the emotional part of your brain. This doesn't take effort. It happens naturally. It's our instincts. So reflexes, instincts, emotions, reactions, and impulses. This is the kind of feeling that if you open up your Facebook and see an incredibly sad message, you automatically feel sad. This is the kind of just natural reaction stuff. So we are constantly living inside of a reactive state. We're reacting to everything. Somebody sends you an angry message, we react to it right away, sometimes with giving them back anger or giving them back, something. If somebody gives you an extremely motivating, happy message, we react with happiness, right? It's hard sometimes to use the reactive versus the active brain, active being that front cortex. So this is what you have to keep in mind throughout this entire training is I'm going to eventually teach you how to do a master task list and break those down into what you're going to learn as your Q2 tasks and roles. This is the kind of stuff that takes effort. You have to learn to focus on this kind of stuff. Now, moving into kind of the heart of what this whole Franklin Covey thing is about is Q1, 2, 3, and 4. What the heck are Qs?
Right.
So there's going to be a diagram. Da-da-da. I'll probably take a screenshot of this and post it inside the group. But if you want to follow along, you can just make a little chart like that. 4 boxes, Q1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, Q1, these are necessities. These are things that you can't control and they need to get done, such as emergencies. We're talking crisis, emergency meetings, last minute deadlines, pressing problems, and unforeseen events. Stuff that pops up. If your husband or wife calls you and says, hey, I have a flat tire, can you come get me? That's obviously a Q1. That's an emergency. You need to drop what you're doing and go take care of it. Q2s, this is where the money is. These are extraordinarily productive items. Proactive work, high impact goals, creative thinking, planning, prevention, relationship building, learning, and renewal. Q2s are not necessities per se, but they are the tasks and items in your life that will have the biggest impact and the most result. Let's look at it in terms of money. It's going to have the biggest return on your investment if you spend time in Q2. Q3, these are distractions. Needless interruptions, unnecessary reports, irrelevant meetings, other people's minor issues, unimportant emails, tasks, phone calls, status posts, etc. This is where you can get lost in Facebook land. You may log into Facebook and say, I'm going to check in with my challenge group. I'm going to do one motivating post, and then I need to do this other project. So you do those items, but guess what? You find yourself scrolling and liking and scrolling and liking. And I can't believe they posted that. You find yourself getting lost in Facebook land. That is where you start to fall into Q3 territory. Just get out of it the second you see yourself start doing that. Q4s, these are time wasters. These are escapes. This is stuff like excessive napping. I'm a big fan of napping. I believe in the power of the re-energizing, but there's a limit to it. If you're taking 2-3 hour long naps, that's falling into Q4. Avoidance activities such as relaxation, excessive relaxation, television, gaming, internet, gossip, calling up your friend when you have stuff to do, that kind of stuff. So those are your four main categories. So throughout this training, when you hear me talk about Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, that's what I'm referring to. Now, moving forward, and according to this, they did a survey on 350,000 people over 6 years. Only 30% of them are spending any time in Q2. And you're going to hear me say Q2 the most because that's the heart of everything. If you spend your time in Q2, you are going to be the most productive person you know. 30%. That's extremely low. So with that, I'm going to cut that one short. And so I wrote down a few little task item for you guys. So whether you're watching the recording right now or the two that are on the live call right now, remember Q2, these are things that you can be doing that are extraordinarily productive. It can be related, and this is not just about business. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. And we're going to dive into it in this next chapter. It's one of my favorite ones. This is life management. This is not just business and time management, guys. So I want you to think about every aspect of your life: relationships, family, business, your own health and fitness, that kind of stuff. Q2s are, Dawn, what are Q2s?
I wrote down what makes the biggest impact.
There you go. Perfect. So Q2s, what Dawn just said. Q4s are your complete time wasters. Q3 and 4 kind of tie in with each other. Q3 is where you're just kind of distracted by something. Like, you might hear my phone go off during these calls. You don't see me go, oh, hold on, guys. You don't see me do that, right? Because I would be doing a Q3. It's a distraction. It's an interruption. Q4s are your time wasters. So I want you guys to either push pause right now and do this little practice for you guys on the call. I'll give you a minute. I want you to list as many as you want. It could be, I'd say, a minimum of 3. List a minimum of 3 items or tasks for both your Q2s that you know you should be doing that will have the biggest impact on your life, not just business. And I want you to list a minimum of 3 of your Q4s that you know you slip into, whether it be video games, excessive TV watching, just not doing anything, just lounging on the couch, browsing through Pinterest and Facebook without any intentions. I want you guys to take a minute and write those down. Guys feel like you're going to get something out of this?
I always do.
Yeah.
What's up, Phil? Morning, sunshine. All right, Phil. I don't think you caught on. Ooh, we got Phil and Tom. Okay, so we're doing a little bit of kind of a live training based on the Franklin Covey stuff I was doing, and I'm actually giving you guys some assignments to do right now on the call, so grab a notepad if you don't have one.
This little tough. Homework already? Fuck.
Heck yeah. We're getting strict, brother.
All right.
Yeah, homework for breakfast. All right, so what I just had these guys do was I explained the Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, which I'll let you guys go back and watch this recording afterwards.
Yeah, don't worry about that yet.
Yep. So Q2s are going to be Q2s are your big impactors. These are the tasks that you know you should be doing that will have the greatest impact, not just on your business, but on your whole life. Q4s are time wasters. These are things that you know you slip into, whether it be video games, excessive TV watching, lounging on Facebook, that kind of stuff. So what I'm having these guys do right now is list a minimum of 3 Q2 activities that you know you should be doing, and list a minimum of 3 Q4 activities that you know you slip into sometimes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move forward into number 2, which is going to be go for extraordinary. Don't settle for ordinary. This is one of my favorite ones, and with this recording in this post, I'm also going to post the video. You guys may have seen it before about Johnny the Bagger. I know Dawn has seen it before. I think they played it at Super Saturday. So this is extreme. Oh, yeah. Which one?
I just said, oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so Johnny the Bagger is about putting in that little bit of extra effort that can have a huge impact in your life. So I'm going to post that video with it on this, so be sure to go back and watch that. This one I'm a big fan of, especially recently, because I'm trying to, I'm not perfect. No one is. I'm trying to get better at putting in that little bit of an extra effort, never just doing the bare minimum, because I think as humans, we're naturally lazy and like to procrastinate. And we want to do just what is asked of us. It takes effort and our own time and energy to go that extra little bit. So that's what this chapter is going to be about. And to do that, this is one of my favorite chapters because this one is all about roles in life. And the way they explained it is, they, like I said, they had these cool little videos to go along with it. So I'm trying to explain it just how they did. Think about how many roles and hats play in life. We all have family to attend to. We're Beachbody coaches. You may have several jobs that you're working. You may be a runner, an athlete. There's literally a list of different roles. So, activity number 2. So activity number 2 is going to be to write down your 5 main roles in life. Real quick, I'm going to give you just a quick list of what they gave us here. I'll try to find ones that actually apply to us. Assistant, athlete, brother, caregiver, challenger, citizen, client, coach, colleague, companion, consultant, consumer, contractor, cook, counselor, daughter, designer, mother, father, sister, energizer, editor, writer, friend, influencer, leader, mentor, owner, neighbor. You guys can see where I'm going with this. There's 1,000 different roles that you can play in life. And they had us go through and mark down on these ones, which ones apply to us, what hats we wear. And I came up with 17, which is nuts because you don't really think you have that many roles in your life. And it's just little stuff like son, spouse, writer, LMT, traveler. That little stuff adds up. And if you think about it, you come up with all these roles that you play in life, and you are trying to devote a little bit of energy to all of them. Think about how thin you're spreading yourself. One of my favorite quotes that my coach Jason actually told me one time, because back then I was extremely scattered. I had no focus. This was before challenge groups. I was literally just everywhere. I was the type of person, it's like, was it pay-per-click ads? Yeah, sign me up. Internet marketing? Sign me up. I was all over the place. And Jason once sent me a text. He said, dude, Chaz, a jack of all trades is a master at nothing. It was one of my favorite quotes, and it stuck with me ever since. So when I did this little role thing, and I looked at how thinly I was trying to spread myself again, it just made me really stop and think. So go through, and what we did here was we put a check mark next to everything that was a hat that we wear, and then we go back through and put a star next to the big ones. So go ahead and share which ones I put down. I came up with husband. I put family, which kind of covers everything because I'm a brother and I'm a son and a grandson. So I just put family as one category. Influencer, because through my YouTube videos and my Facebook posts, I like to influence people. And I thought that was a pretty good one for me. Leadership trainee, because looking in my future, I see myself being on a stage doing motivational speaking. And right now, I'm a leadership trainee. I'm still learning what it takes to be a true leader. Health and fitness enthusiast and Team Beachbody coach. So those were my top 6. Like I said, I narrowed that down from 17. So you may go ahead and make a huge list if you want to. Write every little thing down that you are. And then narrow it down to your top 5 or 6. So once you narrow those down, you guys all following along with this one? Here we go. So once you narrow this down, what they had us do was make a little pie chart. So you make this little chart, right? And it's got a bullseye in the middle. I tried to redo this. So it's got a bullseye in the middle and 2 rings. So what you do is you look at your little chunk of pie. So let's say husband. So I look at that husband. Let me mark real quick. So you're going to go through your pie chart, right? So I marked down husband. And based on those rings, you are going to put a dot. Think of it as a scale of 1 to 10. The bullseye is a 0. And the very outer edge of the ring is going to be a 10, meaning extraordinary. You put a little dot based on how well you think you're doing with that role. So if you're doing just average, put a dot right in the middle. You think you are extraordinary, you are doing the absolute best that you can do in that category, then put it on the outside of the ring. If you know it's a struggle area, but you're giving some effort, maybe you want to go closer towards the middle, that bullseye. So what you do is you go around this whole circle and you look at, next one will be influencer. Okay, how much effort and how great am I doing right now with influencing people? And for me, I'd probably put myself at about a 6. I think for myself, I have a lot of improvement to make. So I would give myself a 6. I put a dot right just above the average mark. Family. How am I doing with my family? Am I taking time to have dinners with them? Am I taking time to go do activities with them? Am I taking time to even call them or text them on a daily basis at least and just let them know I love them? These are the kinds of things you need to be asking yourself in each category. And you just go through and mark that. And once you do, you connect the dots. Because that's going to show you kind of where you're spending most of your energy, where you're excelling and where your weakness is. That shows you what to work on. And once you kind of go through and do all this, I mean, for those of you on the live training right now, we're going kind of quick with this, so you won't be able to get this all done right away. I actually had to redo mine at the training. They gave us about 15 minutes to do this. And even with 15 minutes, I had to go back to the hotel that night and redo the whole thing for an hour because I really started to think, what are the roles in my life that I need to focus the most amount of attention on? And that's where I came up with my top 6. So you guys don't have to worry about doing it right now. If you're watching the recording, hit pause, take as much time as you need to get this thing done. Because once you actually can see on paper right there in front of you what your main roles are, all the other stuff becomes a distraction. It's amazing how much freer you feel when you start focusing on these roles. Now, these roles play a big part because now from your roles, I want you guys to do one of these if you're on the live call right now. If you're not on the live call and you're watching recording, do all of them. I actually have mine on my computer real quick. So I want you to choose one of those roles. Out of the 5 or 6 or however many you jotted down, I want you to choose one of them right now. And with that one, you are going to come up with a role statement. So I will take family, for example. This is my role statement. As a member of my family, I will be actively engaged in strengthening relationships, lifting my loved ones up, supporting them, and helping them work towards achieving their life goals and dreams. I will accomplish this by staying consistent with a designated family night every Monday evening, going out of my way to communicate with each of them, and always showing my love and gratitude for them. My goals as a family member: a weekly activity outside of the house, whether it be hiking or the beach or paintballing. We have sunshine finally coming out, so we actually can go do those things. Recently, it's just been a family movie night and dinner every Monday. 2 major trips, whether that be, I want to try to plan a Disneyland or Six Flags trip sometime in the August or September is my goal. So I want to try to do 2 major trips like that. And a weekly dinner. Like I said, every Monday's been our weekly dinner. And since this training a few weeks back, I have stuck with this every single week. And guys, I can tell you in only, I think it's been 3 or 4 weeks now since that training. In just the 3 or 4 weeks I've been following what I wrote right there, my relationships with my family are already getting better. It's kind of crazy how quickly that stuff happens. So that's the final end product. Now, how you get that, they show you how to break it down. So take the role that I told you guys to pick out. And now, coming up with your role statement, it follows as, I will, through. As a, fill in the blank. You guys will have to hold on for just a second. All right. So, blank, so whatever role you chose, I will, and these are going to be outcomes. So, for example, just on this little rough draft here, as a Team Beachbody coach, I will share my passion for living life with happiness, health, gratitude, and freedom. So fill in your I will. Once you fill in the as a Team Beachbody coach, I will blank through, and these are your activities that will get you there. As a Team Beachbody coach, I will share my passion for living life with happiness, health, gratitude, and freedom through educating and inspiring others to take charge of their lives while using challenge and coach basics groups as their vehicle to freedom. And that's how you come up with that whole statement. And like I said, this is my rough draft. I made a final draft on here, but this is the process to get there. So you don't have to think about doing the whole thing all at once. Break it down like this. As a blank, I will blank through blank. Tie that together. It may not go really smooth right away, but I want you guys to finalize it. Work on it as much as you need. Like I said, I took plenty of time over that whole weekend to go back through all these rough drafts and do all of this stuff. Now, once you come up with that whole little rough draft, as I will through, then you write down your goals, your ultimate goals for that. So, for example, I wrote down, I will achieve 2-star Diamond Coach by Summit, help 100 people achieve their health and fitness goals, become financially free, and fire my wife's boss by the end of the year. And so that's my whole little rough draft right there. That good so far, guys? All right. So like I said, for those of you on the live call right now, I want you to just kind of work on that one. And if you're watching the recording, or for those of you on the live call, come back and watch the recording. And you'll eventually do this for all your roles that you came up with, your top 5 or 6. And they gave a few different examples here, so I'll just read some of these off. And you can play around. One thing that they told us to do too is play around with your different role names, your titles. So instead of Team Beachbody Coach, this one put, where are we at? Advocate for Health. So you can do different stuff like that. So Team Beachbody Coach, for example, an advocate for health. As an advocate for health, I will share my passion and fitness. I will share my passion for fitness and nutrition through inviting others to join me on the journey, offering support and leadership to my customers and coaches, and being proof that the product works. Spouse, for example, as Steve's best friend, I will show my unconditional love and support through regularly communicating my feelings for him and helping achieve his life goals. Leadership trainee, also an inspiring mentor. As an inspiring mentor, I will learn how to lead others through unleashing their natural talents and potential. It's a good one, isn't it? As a parent, as a mom to Olivia and Ethan, my heart is open to each one. I will nurture their character and abilities to the fullest by giving them dedicated one-on-one time. So you guys can kind of see how this is all tying in with each other. So come up with your top 5 or 6 roles in life, those hats that you wear. When you have those important roles, make a statement for each one. Now, based on my experience the last 3 or 4 weeks of being home after learning all of this stuff, I can already see one mistake I made was I did not put these in a public place for me to see. I kept them on my computer. And so when I get home I have a whole Salem house call tonight. Most of you guys know I do that massage gig. When I get home tonight, I'm going to make sure I do this, because reviewing this stuff this morning for myself before this call, I caught stuff that I haven't been following through with. I looked back at my statements that I wrote to myself and read it and went, oh crap, I forgot about that. I need to start setting that. So don't do what I did and just keep it's great I'm all about laptops and computers, electronics, But for this kind of powerful stuff, keep it in a place you can see it. Because, for example, I sit down every morning. Kid you not, that I've had that board made for I don't even know how many months now. I sit down every morning and stare at that board for about 5 or 10 minutes because those are my biggest goals in life for this year, and I need to keep them in mind. I need to reflect on them. So this whole statement thing is going up there. Moving forward. All right. You know what? We're going to call it good for today because number 3 is going to be a long one. It's called scheduling your big rocks. And this is where we kind of dive into not necessarily the motivation stuff and figuring out what your roles are, but once you figure out your roles, once you figure out your biggest items in life that you need to be doing, this is where we move into scheduling them. I mean, you guys, if you have iPhones, will be using Google Calendar like none other. It's ridiculous what mine looks like right now, but it works. So you're going to learn how to create a master task list. You're going to learn how to delegate where those tasks go. And I can actually teach you guys through screen share what we were taught on how to use Google Calendars and how to make a cool little task list and to-do list on there. So aside from that, do you guys have any questions on the live call so far? Everyone all fine and dandy? Learn a few things today?
Yes.
Learn a few things about yourself, I can imagine. Like I said, when I went through and did this training and really looked at my roles, that's where I just went, crap, it needs to be that easy. You have to make it that easy because if you don't put the effort into keeping it simple, you're going to spread yourself thin over 10 different hats, 10 different roles. So that's why I love this chapter, was because you get to identify your core roles in life. Trust me, if you make your daily tasks and activities based on those core 5, I call them, you will be the most productive person you know. I can guarantee it. So aside from that, this has been Coach Chaz. I appreciate you guys taking out of your day to be on the live call. If you're watching the recording, you'll probably need to go back through again and rewatch this whole thing, pause along the activity sections. And like I said in the beginning, don't just watch this and kind of listen to it. Be engaged. Do exactly what I'm telling you to do right now. Like I said, I paid a lot of money to get my butt up to Seattle and get my hands on this kind of material, and it is useless if you do not work on using it every single day. So aside from that, I've got some tires to go flip because it's beautiful outside and we haven't had sun like this in a while. So I'm going to go work out outside for a bit. Dawn, if you get bored, I'm working out in 30 minutes, FYI. Aside from that, you guys peace out. It's been Coach Chaz. See you later.
Peace out.
Woo!